It's time for our next innovator. Please welcome Scott Hintz, co-founder and vice president of business development with TripIt.
Good morning. Some of you may remember me from Hotwire, where we built a successful business that we sold to Expedia a few years ago. Well, now my co-founders and I are at it again, and this time I think we may be onto something even bigger. So why do I think that? Well, first, we're addressing a huge unmet need in the travel space. We're doing something that many people have talked about for a while, but through some innovative technology we've developed, we're actually making it happen. And in the process, we're building a new platform for the travel industry that's open to everyone in this room. It's a big idea that the press has praised, but the best part is all of the people using TripIt who write to us every day who've been telling us how much they use it to manage their lives, in much the same way they use Outlook or BlackBerry. So what is it? Well, TripIt is a personal travel assistant that organizes all your travel, no matter where you've booked. And it takes care of all kinds of little details for you. Basically, what a good assistant might do for you. Now, I've never been lucky enough to have my own assistant, but I do have visions of what some super powerful assistant might do for me. She'd do things like consolidate all of my travel plans from my entire trip into a beautiful master itinerary and take care of all kinds of little details that I usually forget to do. Well, unfortunately, very few of us have personal assistants these days, but who couldn't use this type of help when they travel? And that's exactly why we created TripIt. In fact, TripIt's even better because it's free, it never sleeps or goes on vacation, and it can do things that even the most capable human can't. But enough talk, let me show you what TripIt can actually do. The backbone of TripIt is the master itinerary, and I'm going to show you how we build one and a number of the useful tools that are based on it. So imagine I'm taking a business trip next week to New York. First, I need to get all my travel information into TripIt, and all I have to do is forward my booking confirmation emails to our address, plans@tripit.com, and the rest is auto magic, as our users like to say. So in this case, I go into my inbox and I find the flight I booked on United, and I just forward that to plans@tripit.com. Then I go and I find the hotel that I booked on hotels.com, do the same thing, plans@tripit. And I can even forward a restaurant that I booked on OpenTable to plans@tripit. Now, TripIt supports over 250 travel-related booking sites, and we're adding more every day, and you'll be surprised by the things that we can handle. From hotel to cruise, restaurants to concerts and theater, from HTML to text to PDF. This is technology we invented, and we call it the itinerator. Cool graphic there. We're actually flattered recently to see other sites mimicking this approach. But I'll tell you from firsthand experience, this is really hard to do. It takes some really advanced technology to do it well. And I'll leave it up to you to judge how well the others are doing it. Now, after we forward the confirmation emails to TripIt, we instantly get a response in our inbox, and we just click through, and you see our master itinerary. Now, I know this is hard to read, but this includes all of the bookings we just sent in by email. And TripIt's actually smart enough to know that everything we just sent in belongs to the same trip. So zooming in a little bit closer, first you see the details of the flight that we imported, and below that is the hotel we sent. But between those two items, you see directions that TripIt automatically created from the airport to the hotel. And this is using a mashup with Google Maps. A little lower, you see my hotel, along with a map of the hotel that TripIt automatically created that shows me the vicinity. Then we have my restaurant reservation from OpenTable, and finally reminders about my hotel checkout and my return flight home. So now let me show you some of the other automated tasks TripIt has taken care of for me. Going back up to the flight near the top and zooming in on that, you can see the links that take me directly to online check-in and flight status. TripIt even adds a link to my aircraft seat map in Seat Guru, so I can make sure I didn't get that dreaded seat that doesn't have a window. Scrolling down a little bit further, you see that TripIt's added the daily weather for every place I'll visit on the trip automatically. And finally, TripIt creates something called a travel guide for every place I'll visit on this trip. We're pulling in content as a mashup from Wikipedia, pictures from Flickr, events from Eventful, and others. So now you've seen what TripIt can do for me, but what's really cool is I can now interact with this itinerary, adding all kinds of things that I might do on this trip. So let's click on the Add Plans menu, and in this case, I want to add details of a meeting I've scheduled with my client. So I just fill out this screen. Then I also want to add the rail that I'm going to take up to the client site, easy enough. And then finally, I want directions to get from the train station to my client. It's really easy. I don't have to actually type in the addresses of the train station or my client address. Those items are already in my itinerary, so I just click them from the pre-populated list, and I'm all done. So now that my itinerary is built, TripIt can make it really easy to access all of the information in my itinerary. This is one example of we can pipe everything in your trip directly to your calendar and keep everything in sync. So even as things change, your calendar is updated on the fly. Of course, sometimes there's nothing like good old hard copy, so TripIt makes it easy to print it out. But for those of you like me who live and die on your cell phone, TripIt Mobile is a great way to access a live version of your itinerary from anywhere. Get your daily schedule, access maps and directions, check flight status, everything right from your mobile device. And one nice thing about having everything in one place is that it's great for sharing. How many of you, right before a trip, get emails and phone calls from other people saying, when are you getting in again? What flight are you on? They ask you that multiple times. It's really annoying. But now I just share my trip one time in TripIt, and everyone can see the latest version, all the changes I've made. They can even access it on their mobile phone en route to the airport to pick me up. You can control whether sharees can only view the trip or have collaborator status, and they can edit it. We actually see a lot of travel arrangers using TripIt this way to send itineraries to their clients. Now, this brings me to the social features of TripIt. Sometimes you just need to let people know about your travel. So TripIt has social components that makes it even more useful. So in this case, you can see a list of the people I've connected to within TripIt. I can easily scan down this list, see where everybody is right now, where they're going, and when they'll be there. And one of the really powerful features of TripIt is something we call Who's Close, which tells you when you might cross paths with somebody along the way. How many times have you come back from a trip only to find out that a friend or colleague of yours was also in Atlanta last week, and you could have gotten together for dinner rather than sitting in your hotel room alone watching TV? Well, now TripIt tells you in advance so you can take advantage of these opportunities to network, see clients, and catch up with acquaintances. Corporations have been noticing this feature as they really understand the benefits of helping their employees get more value out of their trips this way. Now, Who's Close gets even better the more connections that you have. And that's why we've just extended this to LinkedIn, which is the world's largest professional networking site. LinkedIn recently selected TripIt as its exclusive travel application, and it's off to a great start. Now, this partnership with LinkedIn also goes to show how much value can be created by being an open system. TripIt's more than just a travel organizer. It's a new platform for the travel industry. Soon we'll be releasing an API that will let third parties like airlines, OTAs, TMCs, and others add data directly to our open platform. TripIt's now the central gathering point for all this travel information, organized around the most important person in our business, the traveler. Although we are a platform, we are not a booking site, and we will not be one. And I think you'll see that this is a clear difference between our approach as an open platform and that of some of the other applications you may see. Now, on a platform, it also means it's really easy to get data out of TripIt, with the user's permission, of course. Other sites are already pulling data out of TripIt today, from corporate social networks to our announcement last week with Microsoft, where TripIt was selected as one of the key data sources for the new version of Windows Live. I could go on talking about all the exciting things that can be done with this sort of data, but the point is that tremendous value can be unlocked when information is allowed to flow freely. Yes, TripIt does provide a useful tool for the individual traveler, but the larger concept of a new platform for the travel industry, independent of any GDS or booking engine, a place where truly everything can come together in a single place, well, as I said in my opening, we think that's a pretty big idea. What I've shown you today didn't include a lot of high production video or beautiful photos of Hawaii to get you excited, but what I do hope is that TripIt's the most useful application you see today. And in terms of a long-term successful business, I'll take useful any day. Thank you.
gentlemen.